Hi guys, happy Wednesday. Thank you so much for joining me. And if you read the description, you saw that we are going to be doing a little sneaky peek today. We've been doing a couple of those. We did one last time. I'm just going to set my coffee here. Um, Let me find it. The last time we got together, we made this card, which is also part of the upcoming release. The release is this Thursday. I can't believe it's coming up so quick. Um, So I am excited for that. And then we made, hold on, I just have a whole bunch of cards just like sitting over here in this tray. What did I do with it? Stand by. A pile of cards. Is it still over here because I photographed it? It might still be over there because I photographed it. No, it's not. That's other stuff. Well, I made the other card for the Monday premiere. I don't know where it's at right now. I'll have to find it before the party on Thursday, though. So before we get into, it'll tie together, I promise. Before we get into the sneaky peek, some of you guys on my channel, as well as like the Honeybee channel, oh, I'm missing everybody saying hello. Hi, Lisa and Tamara and Brandon and Naomi. Missy's working on woodworking cards. That's fun. Hi, Susan. So several of you have asked me when we have been talking about my cross stitch. It will tie in, I promise. So I am currently working on one for my son. So it is let me get it in here. It is a stocking. So this is where I'm at thus far. We were coming up on a couple of vacation days, so I am hoping that I will be able to take this with me, and in the evenings I will have some time to stitch. And I can't work on it every night, but I do try to work on it at least a little bit every week. So this is how I do mine. Everybody's always like, how do you keep track? Well, mine's a counted cross stitch, so it's not stamped. And then I make copies of the original. Let me show you. Let me show you the OG. This is so you can personalize your stocking name when you're done. So like this is how it looks originally. This is the bottom. And where these little arrows are, that's where the middle is. So this is the middle. And I don't, it aggravates me to no end, like when I have to stop in the middle of what I'm doing. So I always make a copy. I like tape them together. You can see this one's a little blurry, but I tape them together so that I have one that is where they meet, and I don't have to like switch back and forth between the two pieces of paper. And then I just use like Crayolas to mark them. So that way, when I am gone for a long time, I don't come back and I'm like, where am I? So anywho, so that's the one I'm working on right now, and this is for my peanut, and this is what it will look like when it's done. So it's called Santa's truck stocking, and then they even give you the little felt to go with it to make it into a stocking. See, Cheryl, oh, that's so nice. Your mom made you one before. I see. I'm hoping to make one for all of us, like in the family, so that we have them. Um, so I'm starting with his because this is the one that I had already. So now, speaking of stitching, wink, wink. Um, I have cross stitched so many things, but I actually don't own any of my own cross stitches. Like they're all out to other people. Um, so where's my bag? I set it over here. If- I have just a bag of a random DMC. This is like stuff I've accumulated over the years, some different things that I have purchased. Hi Sharon, hi Julie. So this is just like stuff that I've purchased over the years for other things. DMC floss is like well, it used inflation. I don't know. It used to be like 50 cents or 60 cents for a little skein of thread. Um, so this is, I just have this, and when I want to be doing some stitching, I just take this out, and you can also like wrap them around their little plastic pieces. I don't typically do that. So this, I'm sure, can lead you to where we're going today. So here's our little sneaky peek. They are stitching dies. I've already die cut them. I know that's a Christmas miracle. Let me get all my little pieces parts out of my envelope. They are, me and Jelly Bean sat down and got all of them into their little envelopes, and then we did all of their little die cuttings. She was she was quite the little helper. She was like, "Mom, I'm gonna go over and eat my snack and don't do any without me." She's also, she's a leader. My husband likes to say, hopefully not of a prison gang, but you know, I like to blame him. I like to blame him for it. Like, clearly she's your daughter. So, all right, check out this adorable chunky little bee. Yes, Caitlin, it is a chunky little bee. And he has a little smiley face on him. You know what? I'm going to take me off so that we can actually see the things. Okay. So we have this little chunky bee who is totally adorable. And then the little chunky bee has two wings, like so. His little wings, like here. And then these are his stripes, his little bee stripes. And then this is like the little tail piece of his tushy. And then he has his little antennas, his little bee antennas. Maybe I'll tuck one behind. But anyway, you get the gist. He is adorable. So in order to go with him, then we have this cute little flower as well with the little center on the inside. So they are adorable, and we are going to stitch them today. Now, I did just do the like one of each. I haven't really like put them together like on a card to see. This is the lovely layouts posted. I'm gonna use this fun little one in the middle here, I think. So we're just gonna those wings wouldn't carry that little chunk. No, they probably would have, but that's what makes him so cute. I always wanted, so I'm team pet, period, but I'm dog more than cat. And so I always wanted like a chunky little like bulldog that would sit in my lap and just be this big chunky lap dog that I could squish him and love him and all of that. And then dogs pick you, right? You don't really have a choice in the matter. And I wanted a boy dog, not a girl dog. I wanted him to be a little chunky love muffin. And then when I got Molly, who was a rescue, she came home with me from work. She was found abandoned on the streets. She is anything but that. She's a very lean boxer mastiff mix with a brindle coat. And while she is still a little love muffin, she is definitely not the chunky little love I thought that I would have. So this is what I'm thinking for a layout. Hi, Lori. Okay, so now I did pull out this Sunkissed Summer sentiment set because I really like this one, the You Are My Sunshine. I thought that would be very fitting for what we have going on here. Plus, that was my little jelly beans nursery theme was You Are My Sunshine, because my gram used to sing that all the time. In fact, that's one of the only videos that we have left is her singing "You Are My Sunshine." So I'm thinking, yeah, I'm thinking these will go in here. So I cut mine out of white, and I think that's gonna work for some of them. What is the border die? Meredith, that is the Lovely Layouts Posted. It's this one in the middle. It also has like cute little other things, but we're not gonna use those today. So I think, okay, so originally I cut them out of white, and I think that's gonna work for some of the things, but I do think that we're gonna either, I think we're gonna color the cardstock. So we could do that in a myriad of different ways. We could color the cardstock all kinds of ways, but because we're already here in this scenario, I'm just going to color them with marker because it's going to be the fastest way to get to where I need. But you could also do them with ink blending. You know what? Maybe I could do them with ink blending. Could I do them? So if these are going to be black stripes, that's what we're going to sew on. Do I have black in here or something that would be close to black? I got a dark gray. That'll probably do. So then he would be yellow. His little wings would be maybe like a light blue. These will be black. These will be black. That'll definitely be easiest to do with a marker. Green, yellow, yellow, yellow. What goes good with yellow? Well, purple. We'll do purple. Do I have purple in here? I do. Um, so yeah, that's what we're gonna do. I'm just gonna color them super quickly with markers. Oh, I did want to show you this too. This for stitching. Hi, Sam. So I am old now and I have old eyes. And so I was cross stitching one night on the couch and I was like squinting my eyeballs because I couldn't see. Um, because we don't have good lighting. That's what I'm blaming it on. And my husband took a picture of me and he posted on Facebook talking about my eyesight. So my wonderful sister sent me this. It's got a little clamp. Okay. So you clamp it here. Wait, where did I put it? So I clamp it onto my thing here like this, and I sit it on the couch, and then look, how do I turn it on? There. Oh, well, you can't really see it because it is light out, but here, and then you can change like the if it's warm or cool light, but it is, see, it's a little light, and it's fantastic. So if you need those for your stitching, guys, they're out there. They're out there in the world. Now I got to turn it off. Okay. All these things they've come out with. Okay, so we need a green. I'm going to try to match them to my flosses, so they don't look funky. So this, we have like kind of a fun spring green there. Um, so I'm just going to go with a YG03. And again, you could absolutely not do this at all and cut it out of colored cardstock to begin with. But we did not do that. Okay, so that one's going to be green. I'm going to use, I have like the kind of icy blue color I think I'm going to use for the wings. And so for that, I think I'm going to go with a B01. Lisa, I bought a magnifying glasses on Amazon for the same reason. Oh yeah, see, that's good too. Glasses. Okay. There we go. And it's 10:15 in the morning and the ice cream truck just went by. Is it really warm where you are, Susan? Okay. Then the flower, we're going to do purple. I got a couple of different, I must have been doing something with purples because I got a couple of different options in here. So we're going to do purple for the flower. So as you can see, some of my stitched parts, like some of the pokey parts, are still in there. I don't worry about them. Like I'll just pop them out as I'm stitching, or they'll just fall out. See, like that one did right there. Okay, there's that. Now we need the yellow for the B. I think I'm going to go with, if I have enough, a 15, a Y15. And I'm going to do the yellow on the flower to match as well. So that way everything is matchy-matchy. You guys know how I roll. I can't stop myself. Cannot help myself. It all has to match. Okay. And then you are going to see his little face. Um, oh, I'm just going to leave it. I'm going to leave it. I like in my head, I'm like, add shading, but I don't think that it's really necessary. I think I can just leave it. I'm looking for, there we go. I'm going to get his little legs here though, and just get them black so that it matches his tushy and antennas. Do you guys like stitching, guys? Like, is that something that you do? I know a lot of people find it very relaxing. Like like with my cross stitching and stuff, but then it gives you an opportunity to like do it and then give it away to somebody else, which I think is really nice. And it's a lot faster than a cross stitch, I'll tell you that. Okay, so that I'm also, I think, just gonna go in and do these little stripes. And obviously, this wouldn't be something you would do if you were doing it out of cardstock. But since I'm going to stitch over them, I would like them to be, I don't want the yellow peeking through, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Okay, there we go. Oh, so Missy's never used them, and Lisa absolutely loves stitching dies. Well, Lisa or Missy, maybe it's time to give them a try. Okay, so now I have all of my little guys here. I am going to clean this up because it will distract me. Sarah did all her cross stitching in the 80s and 90s. But now cross stitch is so different, Sarah. Like it's so different from what it used to be. Because I started cross stitching when I was 15, and that was a long, long time ago. I'm not going to say how long, but it was a while. All right. So I need my needle. And everybody is different with what they choose to use. I do use a cross stitch needle, and that is because the eye is so much bigger and it has more of a blunt end. It's not as sharp as a sewing needle. Okay, so I'm going to pull out my colors. So we decided we're doing the gray for the black. That's the closest we got. And this is for the wings. This is for the center of the flower. Got these, got these. Center of the flower. Now I need to pick my purple. I've never been able to thread a needle without a helper tool. Really? Oh, I just lick them. To be honest, that's what I do. Um, Hockey, I make fake stitches with a pen when stitching scrapbooking pages was a thing. Hey, listen, Christina Warner, I'm pretty sure is still doing that on her cards. She's like known for that. All right, I think we'll go with this purple. And that green, now we'll go with maybe the spring green, not the dark green, the spring green. Okay. All right, I think we're all good. Okay, now I need my little, I have scissors like in my box. I have these cute little adorable like fancy scissors in my cross stitch box. But I didn't bring the box up. So I'm just going to pull some out. Um See, I don't like when I run out. So I'm going to do two and then I'm going to trim it. And then you can decide the thickness, like the thickness of how thick you want it. You could do the whole thing if you wanted. Let me show you. I'm not going to do the whole thing because I think that's too much, but I've never done cross stitch, but I do embroidery. Do you think that that would still apply to this? Yes. I don't know how you do embroidery, girl. How are your thumbs surviving? I tried it and I could not do it. My thumb hurt so bad. Okay. So first, we're going to thread it through. And then you would typically um like tape it on the back. Do, do, do. I just want to be gentle with it. So you can do like a back stitch. So like this one would come up and go this way. And then we would come up this one and go back. So you could do a back stitch on it and then you would come back up this one. I skipped one, but you surely get the point. My hand aches regularly no matter what crafting I do, and I love any kind of needlework like that. Well, God bless ya. So this is really just like a simple little back stitch. Here, see, it's getting a little crazy back there. So you can do it with the full amount and it will be nice and thick. Let me bring this up so you can see. Um, so I now see I just told now, okay, so here this is some of the things in cross stitching nobody ever told me, but it was back in the 90s and I was teaching myself. So then if you need to remove it, you just go back to the last stitch, and especially because we're stitching on paper, you want to just be very gentle with it and pull the loops so that you can pull it back out and you don't damage this. Okay, so now we're going to stitch it the way that they intended us to stitch it, and we will actually tape it. Okay, so there's a lot of different ways that you can, like a lot of different patterns that you can do, but I am going to do the one that Honeybee does in their um I'm thinking mock-up, but that's not really what I want. Um, in their example, that's better. So that way, in case you look at that and you're like, I want to know how to do that, I'm going to teach you how to do that. So again, I'm not going to tape mine yet until I'm done stitching. I'm just going to let the little tail hang out and I'm going to hold it with my finger, just like that. So the tail is under my finger. And the reason that I am choosing to do that is because there's not a lot of real estate on the back here. So if I try to tape it now, I'm going to have to sew through the tape. I don't want to do that. So the intention is for you to, is that how it goes? Now I got to double check. Yep, that is how it goes. Okay. So I think they use that hole twice. They may. Because it's supposed to. Look, we're figuring it out together. That's what these lives are all about, folks. Then there's this one, and this one comes down like that. And then this one. So they almost make like little branches off the middle. You cross-stitched the Last Supper for your church year. God bless you, because I'm sure that was quite the undertaking. So I'm just kind of going back and forth across the aisleways here. So since I'm over here, I'm going to take it up this way and then over. And then I'm going to bring it over here and then back to the center. And then just start again on the other side. I do cross stitch a pillow or item for my mom for Christmas every year. Brandon, that's so sweet. Yes, Caitlin, you absolutely could change this flower up to be, several different seasons. You could do like a little field of flowers, which would be super cute. I know Jennifer like takes these with her to like her kids' sporting events and stuff um to stitch, which I think is really fun. And then she's got a bunch of pieces to put on cards. Hi, Kim. We are stitching today. Well, that one doesn't want to pop, probably because I'm not getting it. Hi, Wendy. So Sharon said like the flower would be pretty in variegated floss. I used to have some. I feel like my mom bought it for me years ago. That was like a rainbow floss. It dyed like, from red to orange, the whole Roy G. Biv. You get what I'm saying. And I was like, oh, where is that? That would be so cool to stitch with. And then I could not find it. Maybe I got rid of it. I don't know. That's hard to believe. My husband would say that I don't get rid of anything. So these last little pieces, I'm just going to keep bringing back to that center hole so that they have a home to go to. I have 0 embroidery thread. Well, Wendy, thankfully, I'm pretty sure Honeybee has some in the store that you can buy. Or you can obviously just get it from your local, whichever. Okay, so that is one leaf sewn. And then I do this with my regular cross stitch too. In order to just keep it tidy, I'm not going to cut it off because I'm lazy. I'm going to slide my needle back through my stitches so that it comes back down. That's now secured. It's not going anywhere. And then that way I can bring it up in the next part and everything still stays nice and tidy in the back. And then we'll just do the other side. I hope that we picked a good size for the length of the string. I get so mad at myself when I'm stitching something and I'm like almost to the end of it and I run out of string. Like, girl, why didn't you just cut it longer to begin with? I have a huge container of glass sheets in storage. Saw the price of one sheet in Hobby Lobby, just about had a heart attack. Is that for stained glass hockey? Is that what you're talking about? I don't even know what a glass sheet is. When Joann's went out of fabric, I bought a ton of floss. That was probably really, really smart because thank you, Sarah. So that it's funny because my mom was never like a stitcher or anything. Um, but she would always tell, which was, I mean, that was just her. She would always be bragging on her kids. But she used to tell people, Kelly's cross stitch is as neat in the back as it is in the front. Um, which I don't know if that is true or not. Oh, so okay, so here, so see, I went in the same hole. So now I got to fix that problem. So you can do it one of two ways. You can see if you can feed it back through. Sometimes that can get a little messy though if you don't get the whole thing. I lucked out that I could. Or take the um, needle off of the thread and then pull it out from the top. My daughter has all my floss now. She loves to cross stitch. Oh, that's great. Yeah, um, I hope my kids have good hobbies. It makes me very sad when I see people and loved ones that their only hobby is like watching TV. I'm like, oh my lord, there's so many. I mean, I don't mean to judge because everybody is different, but when I had my son, who was my first child, and it was like I knew I didn't have time to do all the things, and something had to go. The first thing to go was the TV because I would be I'd rather be doing so many other things. Brandon said I lost a needle once and now I double it. What are we doubling, Brandon? The string? Yes, Wendy, I agree. Like just putting your little things, like I have my extra floss, like we talked about in this little Ziploc bag. Like you could do your die cuts and like just even a little envelope and throw them in there, and you could take it in the car on little road trips or, oh, see, I got my stem. Got to be careful there because it is still paper. So want to make sure we don't rip it. Will they let you take a needle on a plane? Good question. I honestly don't know the answer to it. Hi, Carol. So glad that you could pop in. I was asking how many strands you use and if you double them. So this is when you just cut them straight off, they're 6 strands. So that's what I'm stitching with right now is the full 6. But you can do them thinner, like, when you do an actual, like, cross stitch kit, they'll tell you how many to use. Typically, in most traditional cross stitches, it's 2, you use 2 strands. Um, as you get up into the ones that are a little bit more dynamic with the dimension, sometimes they'll do, 3 strands, sometimes they'll do 4 or 5. That's usually if they're only doing a half stitch, because that is pretty thick. A lot of the ones that I've done that have snow in them, no big shock, I live in Ohio, um, they typically do have thicker ones because they're trying to make the snow to, appear like it's taller. But for these, typically I use the full amount because it just makes it look fuller. So now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to slide this back through so that that is secured. Look at, we almost had exactly the perfect amount. And then I'm going to take my needle off. I can trim this I'm also going to trim this tail because I don't need it to be that long. And then I will put my tape right there, and it will hold both the front and the back as soon as I find my tape. Here we go. Okay. Caitlin Googled it and says you can take sewing needles on a plane, but you need to pack them securely and possibly declare them at security. Fascinating. All right. So I'm going to just put my tape down there, but I don't want to be able to see it from this side. So I am going to go in there and just trim that little excess piece right off. And then if I can get it off my finger, I'll set it aside. Right now it's still stuck there. And then this portion I will just trim like kind of on the inside edge of my flower so that we don't see it, but everything is still secure. Okay, there we go. And your scissors need to be less than a 4-inch blade. Well, these ones from Spellbinders are 2, so you could take these. And they are fabulous. Okay. I have so much tape on my fingers. Like little teeny tiny pieces of tape. I feel like I'm wrapping Christmas gifts. There we go. Okay. Now, see, I didn't have to pop out all the holes. See how they just came out as I was going? So you don't have to spend a lot of time on that. If for some reason you're like, no, I want to have all the holes out because I don't want them in my car or whatever, Spellbinders has this tool. So you can either use like your honeybee pokey tool, poke them all out, like it's nice and easy. They just come right out. Or Spellbinders has this tool. It's called a tool-in-one. This mine's old. They've made it look nicer and fancier and more modern now. But you can use this. I think you're supposed to do it on a mat, and I don't have one. But you can use this to like go over, and it helps push out all of the little dots. See? I think it works better if you have a mat. But anyway, something like that would work as well. Okay. So we got the green done. We only needed the green for that. We got like a little garbage pile going. Okay. So now let's do the flower. We might as well finish the flower. So the last time I did 2, I pulled out 2, and this flower is a lot more holes. I'm going to go 3, 4. I'm going to go 4. Okay. Trim that. And how we do the flower, there we go. Sorry, I have to think. Okay, so how we do the flower, you just pick a petal to start with. We're going to leave that tail on the end. I'm just going to hold that with my finger. And then for this one, oh, just popped right back out there, didn't it? For this one, we're going to go and pull it straight across. All of these holes will come back to this center. So it's almost going to be like a little starburst. Carol, there are not instructions. There is kind of like a layering guide that comes with them that Sorry. Um, so that you can see like how they go. I don't think there's necessarily instructions on how to do them. Um, because there isn't like a wrong way to do them. You can stitch them however you would like. Thank you very much, Wendy. Wendy sent me a little super fan dollars for ice cream for my little peanut butter jelly bean. So looking at this one, I'm thinking that, well, we'll try it. I think the 6 might be too much for this one. I also probably complicated my life by making it so long, but it won't always be that way. Okay. So now we're up through there, and you know what? Let me try to go this way and see. This might be getting too thick in the center. We might have to split it. But that's why we do these things together so that we can figure them out. And then in here. I have a knot, which if you are a cross stitcher, you know is fairly normal. There we go. And then we would just start on the other side. But I'm thinking that that might be too much string. So my best friend, this is just like the total differences in people, right? So, um, my best friend from high school into, well, basically the rest of my life. She was just here for the 4th of July. Um, she decided she's also very crafty. We met in home economics. She decided she was going to do a cross stitch for her mom. And bye, Brandon. Um, you could always buy white floss and use alcohol inks to color them. That is true, Hockey, and that's a good idea. That's fun. Maybe we could do that one day on a live. Make our own variegated floss. Um, so how did this happen? That we just have one that's stuck through. Fascinating. Anyway, um, so she was working on a cross stitch kit for her mom, and I was like, "Well, you're going to have to," she misstitched something. I'm like, "Girl, you're gonna have to pull that all out and restitch it." And she was like, "No, I'm not." And I'm like, What?" And she was like, "No, I'll just fill in those sections, I'll just make it up," which is not at all me. I'm like, "What do you mean you'll just make it up? Like, that's lunacy." But she was like, "No, I'll just fill those blocks in." Whereas like me, I made a cross stitch for my parents for their anniversary years ago, and it was like personalized with their wedding date and their names and all that stuff. And it had like florals, and at the top and the bottom it had lattice work, and I redid that lattice 4 or 5 times. I mean, it was because I just couldn't get it straight for some reason, and I don't know what the reason was. I just could not make that work, and, and I just redid it until it was done. That's why my husband says I'm a perfectionist, but I'm like, I don't know, maybe that is perfectionism, but I don't think so. I'm like, I'm just trying to do it the right way. I'm just trying to do it the right way. So if I have to redo something, Like, then I just suck it up and redo it. I know not everybody is built that way. Some people are a little bit more free. Okay. So now I am going to split this is what I'm going to do. There's 6 strands, so I'm going to split it into 3 and 3 because the 6 was too full. See, I'm doing it. I'm doing it in the way I know I'm not supposed to do it. So, but I like I told Denise, I totally get what you're saying, like embrace the imperfection, but it's not about, for me, it's not about it being perfect. I don't need it to be perfect. I just need it to be the best that I personally can do. And if I have instructions right there in front of me that I can follow, then I know that it not matching up is not the best that I can do because I have an example right in front of me of how I could do it the best that it could be done. So, yeah, I don't know. That's the same thing my husband and I used to go through when we did furniture together. He would be like, "Just leave it, it's fine." And I was like, "No," because if I was buying furniture for somebody, I would not be like, "Leave it, it's fine." Okay, so now we're on to the 3. Let's see if this works better for us. Belinda. Oh, I'm very OCD with my crafting and stitching. My stitching to the point I make sure my threads lay perfect on every cross stitch. Yeah, that I definitely don't do. Um, but that does, hey, whatever works for you. Okay. So now we're going to try this again. We're a little bit thinner with the 3 strands. I'm going to hold that with my finger and then hopefully this goes a little bit smoother this time around. So I pull it through, and remember with this one, we're meeting back here at the center every time. So it comes back to this middle one. Oh, got the petal. There we go. So yeah, see, this is moving along much smoother this time. I used to be a perfectionist, but have forced myself to be more relaxed in crafting. I was always a student that would do a group project myself because I didn't want others messing it up. Denise, I think most of us have been there. Crafting isn't meant to be perfect. It's not. It's and for like if you guys have seen my videos, you may have heard me say this. Like even like my cards, like if people want to throw out my cards, like have at it. Because the point was for me to enjoy in the making and for you to know I was thinking of you. And after that, like I have feel no need to force you to be a hoarder. Like you can let it go. It won't hurt my feelings. You could alternate sides of the petal as you go, left side, right side. That is absolutely true. I'm trying to follow their example in what they did. So that way if you're looking at the example and you're like, "Hey, how did they get that?" Oh, you did make it to a live. Hi, Shy. Thank you for coming. So, and then each of these petals is the same exact way. And like at some point, you don't have to worry about holding the tail anymore because this is not going anywhere. This is so super secure. Oh, hold it right out of my own hand. Okay, so now we've gone all the way across, and so we can just move right over to this petal, like with the other one where we had to get back down to the bottom. We don't have to do that with this. Thank you so much for the compliment, Shy. I appreciate that. Today we're not coloring. I hope you're not disappointed. We are we are stitching. So one of the things that I have never learned how to do though is crochet. As you guys, several of you helped me with my verbiage on my last video with I was calling them crochet hooks, but they were actually knitting needles. So I had an aunt who used to crochet. I don't know if she still does or not, honestly, but when we were younger, she did crochet. She's the same aunt who cross stitched. In fact, she made my mom when my oldest sister, Michelle, was, pregnant with my nephew. He was the first grandbaby. She made her a little Precious Moments, cross stitch, um, that said, uh, grandma on it, and it was super cute. It still hangs in my parents' house. Do I have a live schedule? So every Wednesday at 1, I am live on my channel and the Honeybee channel. Those go together. All right. So here, what has happened is see how we have these little strings sitting here, and it's because the tail of what I'm stitching with, I didn't pull it up. So I've actually managed to stitch my tail into what I'm doing. So since it's just happened, I should be able to see I just pulled it free there. But then I'm going to want to make sure that I move my needle down further. So that way that does not happen again. Oh, your mom taught you how? And you made blankets for all your kids. See, that's so nice. My mama was not, she didn't do a lot of crafts. My mom gave me my love of baking, which is also creating, just in a different way. Um, and she and I baked a lot together. Um, and then she also used to paint ceramics. Like back in the 90s, they had like a pottery place that you could go and you could stay there and paint, or you could bring them home and paint them, and then you would take them back and they would fire them for you. So she painted different stuff for us um when we were little, and uh, then we went, where did we go? I think it was last August. It must have been, right? No, maybe it was last July. I'm not sure. We went and painted pottery, me and her and my oldest sister, my middle sister had something going on. I can't remember what. Um, but my we all went to paint pottery, and so she painted a little princess. She was always so good at painting the eyes. Eyes are so hard to paint. Um, but she painted a purple princess, and you put a little tea light in the back, and then the stars in her dress light up for Caitlin. So I'm very excited for her to have that as she gets older. Your mom crocheted and created a tablecloth using very small thread. Hockey, we had a pottery place in our tiny town. Yeah, they're so nice. I know my goddaughter like, we went to one of the pottery places, for one of her birthdays, um, and basically they had, like, a shelf that was included in the kit, um, and you could just go pick off the shelf. Hi, Maria. Yes, these are new. Um, it's a little sneak peek from the Maker's Mix. These are new dies. These will be out on Thursday. We're almost at an hour already. We might not even get to stitch this bee, y'all. We might even just be doing this flower. Do you remember the pottery Christmas trees with the plastic Christmas lights all over? You plugged it in and lit it up? Yes. I do. My grandmother, my dad's mom had one. And I don't know if you guys have seen it or not, but Honeybee has one of those. It's a 3D embossing folder, with a set of dies where you can make your own, um, like, it's called Grandma's Christmas Tree, and it's so adorable. I think I made it, and then I made it all shiny because my grandmother's was shiny with snow on it. And then one of our date nights, my husband and I went, to the pottery place and did, oh, stop it now, piggy banks. We painted piggy banks for the kids. He painted a truck for Peanut, and I painted a rainbow for Jelly Bean. Okay, so here we've come to the end of our strand. We have no more room. So I am going to kind of tuck this into what I've already stitched and pull it through. And I'm just going to leave this there for now, again, until we get back to the taping. So now I am going to need those. Um, these other three. Remember, we split the strand this time. So, hi, Vicky. Okay. So briefly, I am going to get a sip of coffee. Forgive me. Okay. And now I got to figure out where we left off. Here we go. So even though here is where we want to be, I'm going to go back to the bottom because remember, I have that tail I have to contend with. Oh, Carol, that's so cool. So I'm sorry for the loss of your mother. Even though it's been 9 years, I have no doubt that it is still an immense loss. Um, but she said that her mom did all the crafts and she even had her own kiln, which is super cool. I do like to watch those on the reels. Okay, so now I have a new tail, and this one I will hold in my finger. And then we will start again. Seriously, we may only get through this one. Ah, maybe the other ones will be faster. Maybe I just picked the, okay. So here's what happened is this, I kind of brought it around on itself. So make sure you're not looping it back through your own stitching. Susan, these would not be for mass production. I think it depends on how you stitch them, and it also depends on how you're spending the time stitching. So like if you're going on like a road trip, or if you're, kids, grandkids, whatever, play like baseball or something, and you took them with you as you were doing them, I think you could get quite a few done that way. Now, if I was just going to be sitting at my desk sewing, sorry, I bumped you. Um, I don't know, yeah, I'm kind of with you. I don't know that I would find joy in continually stitching them, but some people do. That's just, some people are like, "Why do you color everything?" Well, because I love coloring. But that doesn't mean that it's for everybody, and that's all right. Wouldn't the world be boring if we were all exactly alike? Who's making pie? Vicky, you're peeling apples. Are you making pie? Or is that just an assumption on our part? Oh, fried apples. Those are delicious. I there's a crafter that says she sits and stitches while she watches her shows. Yeah, that's see? That would be Oh, Lisa just said I do it while watching TV in the evenings. Yeah, if I didn't have a cross stitch I was, actively working on, I totally see how, like, this would be a fun way to kind of pass the time. I know that I am a rare breed. It used to drive my husband insane. He's like, "Why can you not just sit and be present and just watch the TV?" And I was like, "Well, I am sitting and I am being present watching the TV, but also I need something to occupy my hands because sitting and watching the TV is not stimulating enough for this little lady." And now he's just accepted that I have to be doing something else. Yeah, see, Laura just said, I can't just sit and watch TV. It's a waste of my time. I do have programs that I like. I have, which some of you guys know, like I've recently found a immense love for audiobooks. So I listen to my audiobook while, oh, missed one. I'm just gonna go back and get it. I'm not gonna take that last one out. I'm just gonna go back in and get it. Um, so I listen to audiobooks while I go for a walk, while I'm stitching, or while I'm, card making. I very much am enjoying the audiobooks, though I do like the kind with the full cast. And that just means everybody in the book has a different voice. Those I enjoy quite a bit. I also listen to murdery shows, which is not for everybody, but it is for me. I was once listening to I was once watching a murdery show, and I was just going along and coloring and, blah, 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 blah. And then they were started talking about this scenario with the SWAT team and this guy who had, um, taken his ex-girlfriend hostage and barricaded himself in the house. And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, that sounds familiar, blah, 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 blah." Going on, coloring, and then it starts talking about, different parts of it, and all of a sudden, I was like, That voice sounds really familiar. Like, that sounds who is that?" And so I turn and look at the screen, and sure enough, it was one of the guys that I worked with. One of the guys that I worked with who was being interviewed because he was on scene for the call. That is why the call sounded so familiar to me. So, yeah, that was interesting. Let me let me just make sure these are cleaned out. Okay. Now we're on to the last petal. Okay. Are we talking about taking family photos? Is that what we're talking about? Yeah, I don't think this is too terrible, like, as far as the stitching goes. I mean, it's pretty easy. You just gotta get into a rhythm with it. I can hear. So it's summertime, as you guys know. So my son is home. Sometimes he is not home when I'm doing my lives, and sometimes he is. Um, and when he is home, I typically have the door shut, uh, so that way he can, watch his TV or play his video games or, play with his friends or whatever it is that he's doing. And so today I have the door shut, and normally Molly is on the other side of the door when I shut it, but she was laying in my bedroom. Um, so I don't have her in the room with me like I normally would, and I can hear her on the other side of the door, on the other side of the door, like chewing on her paws, like, "Mom, I'm right here. Let me in." But I cannot let her in. Oh, switch that around. There we go. So shockingly, I also picked a fairly good length for this one. Yeah, my dog does not like to be shut out of anywhere either, Kim. She likes to be exactly where I am. Okay, so here we are with this one. These are all of our little tails here that we're going to want to trim down and then secure. So I am going to trim this one, and I'm going to see what the other ones are looking like. This one can definitely be trimmed. Okay, so I'm just going to fold them all into the center, and then that is where I will put my tape. Sorry for being so chatty too much soda. Denise, I don't think you have to apologize. I think we're all here to be able to chit chat. And for some of us, like, we know that you take care of your mama and you probably don't have a lot of interaction, babe. So don't apologize for it. We're all here to visit and chit chat and learn a new skill. That's why lives are also not for everybody, because some people don't want that. But we are here because we do. All right, so this flower is adorable. Even though that did take a minute, I think very cute. So now let's get the center of it done. I think that just one pull will be enough to do this one. Okay. And I think I am going to go, because this is going to go the same way this one did. Like, it's all going to come back to the center. So I think I am just going to go ahead and split it now, knowing that the other one was too thick. So this is something that I don't think it's necessary for your cards, but this is something that I do with my cross stitches. If you want fluffier thread, when you pull them out, because like they're all, it's kind of like when you curl your hair. If you curl it the same way, then it's all just going to meet each other and it's not going to be nice and full. So when you're doing your thread, if you flip one of them over and put the end at the top, it helps them to be fuller strings because they don't all fit in directly with each other. Like, see how this one doesn't go in line? Oh, French knots. That it would be something interesting. I struggle with French knots and I have to pull relatively hard to get mine to go. Um, so I don't know that I would be able to do it on paper, but I bet you could do them on paper for sure. All right, so again, I'm going to leave my little tail, and then this is going to be just the same thing that we just did with the petal. It's all going to come back to the center. And then as I go, I will just turn it So I'm leaving those holes open. And this one obviously is going very quickly. Very, very quick. I don't think there's anything, we colored the bee yellow, but I don't think there's any yellow stitching on the bee, I think. Oh, Gretchen, don't worry about it. We're still here. Girl, you know we take a long time. Okay. And that is that one. So that's actually the whole center right there. So I'm going to trim it. Where's my tape? And I am going to trim these down just a smidge because there isn't a lot of real estate on the back of this. So I don't want to. I don't want you to be able to see them. I think I'm going to have to trim the tape too. I'm just going to trim it into a little square. Rectangle? Rectangle. So that I can put that there. There we go. There's our little flower. Super cute. I'm going to set that over there. So now we're already doing the little ones, so we might as well go ahead and do the wings. As soon as I find, excuse me, sir, where do you start? Here? I feel like you're kind of tucked in. Okay, there we go. All right. I am just going to do one for this as well. Hi, Sherry. Thanks for popping in. Are you excited for Brandon to come visit? Isn't it so nice when we get to meet our real life crafty friends in real life? Because even though you don't like see each other, like me and my friend Jen, she lives in England, like we don't see each other, but she's still one of my closest friends. And like it would not, like, to see her in person, I don't think our relationship would be any different than it is, when we're talking on the phone or whatever, but I just don't ever get to see her because she lives in a shire called Porcupine, and I live in Cleveland. Oh, okay, there we go. See, now look at, I haven't had any issues this whole time, and then we started talking about Brandon, and now I can't thread my needle because he said he can never thread his. There we go. Okay. And these ones are actually that same way where that the middle is going to come, or I'm sorry, all of the strands are going to come and meet in the middle. And this one, I'm wondering, I just undid my stitch. Genius. Okay. There we go. So Are you guys getting excited for the release? I can't believe it's tomorrow. Feels like it came up so quick. This one is almost done. There we go. Going to, you know what? Let me see if I can secure it by feeding it back through because these are pretty tiny. So I'm wondering if I just pull it back through and trim it, if that'll be enough for it to stay. I think it will. Not this one. This one will have to be taped. But okay. That just came off on my finger. Lord. And now I'm not going to be able to get it off. There we are. Okay. We'll put that tape there. Trim off our excess tail. And there's one wing done. Next wing. What's with the crown after your name? So the crowns is something new that YouTube is doing. And it shows your participation in the chat. So if you have a crown but like next to it there's a 1, that means you are the person who has contributed the most comments in the chat. Can you use a dot or 2 of glue instead of tape? Julie, you might be able to, but I feel like that's going to be messy, honestly. Like if I had time, if we weren't live and I had time to let them like dry overnight, maybe I could do that, or dry, at least for a little bit. But since we're live, the tape is going to work better for me right now. But I don't see any reason why that would not work in a different scenario. Kim, we all aspire to be number one. You're number one in my book, Kim. All right. I keep pulling this out. Why do I keep doing that? Come on. Nope. See? Now I didn't have any issues at all. And now the blue one is like, no, ma'am. All right. There we go. Okay. Laura, I use glue to anchor my thread. Okay. This one is kind of a little bit more challenging because it's a shorter string. I do this to myself in cross stitch too because I'm too, like, I just want to get it done. Like, I hope that there's enough there for me to get it done, but sometimes there isn't, and you just have to accept defeat. So, like this is going to be the last one for this, I think. You know what? Maybe I can. Uh, I am the literal worst because I will spend the time it takes to try to use this little teeny tiny piece of thread instead of just getting a new piece. Because I don't want to have to deal with all the other tails. Does that make sense? When you're at the very end of a row or a section, I'm right there with, thank you, Lisa. Like, I don't want to have to do the whole, come on, you can make it, you can do it. Oh, you're being awful. Just go in there. Thank you. All right, 2 out of 3. Got it. Now, just pull it through. Come on. You're the last one. There we go. All right. Thanks, Lord. Okay. So now we have this one done and we have to secure that. Okay. And we're going to do just a little rectangle there. Okay. Now I will fold this up to secure it with my little piece of tape. And then I will trim off the extra tail. Okay. 2 adorable little bee wings. Very, very cute. Now, the last part, and this is I am going to switch up the um the stitches. Like we've been doing a lot where they're kind of meeting in the middle. This one I think I am going to do um as like a genuine cross stitch. Like I think I'm going to X them back and forth. Even though they're going to be like longer and thinner, I think that'll be a good way to kind of fill it in. Does that make sense? Right. And there's my 3. Okay. Now I just got to find the ends. There's these 2. Okay. And this one. Okay. There we go. Hi, Caro. I love that you guys are just like popping in, checking it out. All right. So sometimes 3 strands is too much for the whole, and I don't care for the look. 2 sometimes looks much better in my opinion. I get that, Laura. I do. I like them a little bit fuller. Okay, so this has kind of stitches along the top. Um, so it's almost like you could back stitch them if you wanted, like so that they would have that full line there. So I think I'm going to do the little back stitch at the very bottom. I'm trying to pick up my needle without fingernails. My nails are very short right now. Okay, so I'm going to do a little back stitch at the bottom just to fill in those holes. And then, oh, I caught a leg. I caught it on his little leg. And then I am going to do a cross stitch, I think. Well, this is really going to be more of a, this one I think should go up. Sorry. I think this one needs to go up 1. There we go. So it's a little bit more of a diagonal. So for this one, you can actually treat it like a regular cross stitch and stitch over your tail to hold it in place. Hello. What is going on here? So you can see when you, if we look at it from the back, we can stitch right over that tail, and then that tail's not going to move. Okay. So now if you are not a cross stitcher, you might be saying to yourself, Kelly, I thought you said you were going to do a cross stitch. Why are you going all one way? Well, because usually you will do the row and then you will come back across. These little leggies. Gotta make sure I don't catch one and accidentally rip one off. That is, so maybe we should have used a thicker amount because my needle keeps kind of falling through the holes. And then once I get up here to the top, I will once again do a little back stitch to fill in these top ones. There we go. Okay, there. And now you gotta go that way. Sometimes you gotta stop and like think about what you're doing. Think about what you're doing. Okay, so now that I have that filled in, now I'll be able to go in and start. That is the wrong one. My apologies. This one is the right one. I'm going to stitch it this way. I'm going to flip it upside down in the hopes that I catch those little legs less. Okay. So now we're just crossing that back over. It's a much longer X than you would see in regular cross stitch, but it does fill that little stripe up nicely. And I know like the gray is a little bit different than like the black that you would normally see. Maybe it's a grandma bee or a grandpa bee. Maybe he's got the grays. Maybe that's what's happening. Lord knows I'm not a grandma or a grandpa, and I got some grays. Thankfully, a good old hair highlight takes care of most of it. Okay, so now we're down back at the bottom, and our little stripe is stitched. Hockey, I was actually thinking about that. That you could go over it and color it, like color the thread. I would be a little bit hesitant to do it once it's stitched on there, only because, paper is absorbent and I wouldn't want to risk getting the black on the yellow, especially not after I spent all the time stitching it. But I think beforehand, yeah, you can definitely use alcohol, inks, markers, refills to color your thread for sure. Oh, that would be cute. So Carol had a really cute idea. Wouldn't this be adorable tag for a birthday package, like happy bee day? I think that would be really cute. So Caitlin had a cold this past week, a little summer cold, and oh, there's I gotta pull my tail out. Um, she has successfully given it to my husband, and this is of course because we had full intentions of having plans this weekend. So that of course is why she got sick and then started giving it to other people. I have to trim these tails because they're getting in my stitching. There we go. Um, because isn't that just what kids, God love them. Isn't that just what they do? You were like, "No, I didn't." Ah, Caitlin. My Caitlin. Though you guys spell different. You do. You are spelled different. Okay. So now we're just going to go back over these. Hopefully we have enough gray to make it through. I'm not hopeful. I think we're probably going to need some more um before we get to the end. But we'll keep on keeping on. So yesterday, my husband was like, "I feel like trash." Like, no wonder she's been so difficult to handle because I feel terrible. And so I was like, like last night, I was putting her to bed, and I was like, "Go take a shower and go to bed. Like, why are you even trying to stay up?" And he's like, "You should be grateful. Most women complain about the man flu." And I was like, "Well, that is true. Like, you don't do that, but like, also, we don't have to push through when we feel like trash." Like, you can just go take a shower and go to bed. It's totally okay. Yeah, she is a daycare kid, so she does get sick, but now that she's, well, almost 4, can you believe it? Um, she, summer is actually pretty good. Not saying there aren't new kids with new germs or what have you. I'm just gonna suck it up and know that I'm gonna have to get more string, so I'm just gonna tuck this in the back and save myself the hassle because I know I'm never gonna have enough for those last 4. So I'll just switch over. Sometimes you just got to know when it's a loss, guys. I know, isn't it? I asked my husband the other day. I was like, we need to talk about like preschool or pre-preschool. And he was like, what? I'm like, dude, we're there. It's time. I can't believe it's time, but it is. Where did we leave off? Right here. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to weave this. I'm going to go through this side so I don't accidentally pull out my other one. But I'm going to weave this tail right through here. So that way I don't have to worry about that tail either. And this is where we're starting. Okay. Your daughter was in pre-K 2, 3, and 4 in our school for every year they were old. That's interesting. Preschool is kindergarten or is it before kindergarten? Preschool is before kindergarten. Um, so you can do like pre-preschool at 3, or you can do preschool at 4, and then kindergarten is at 5, and then we're just in it to win it till she graduates. Okay. So that is our little bee. Oh, that leg. Let go, please. I don't want to rip off his leg. There we go. Oh, and it just caught again. Oh, watch for the legs when you're doing the bee. Okay, there we go. Oh, I dropped him. So there's that. So now I'm just going to stick this over here so I don't lose it. We're going to finish putting them together because he does have a few extra pieces. I am going to just push all of my trash over to this side so it's not in our way. There we go. Okay. And then I have a little, remember, we're trying to make these into a card. Did we forget all about that? So we're going to do this. Time does go very, very quickly once they start school. You're not kidding. Like, I can't believe that I already have a seventh grader. Okay. And then you guys know, because I'm cheap, I will save this and use it for another card. But this will be the piece that we're using today. And I am going to, let me glue this little guy together before I lose any of his pieces, and we're all sad about it. Oh, Debbie, that's so nice that you got to go to lunch with your friends. Don't apologize. That sounds like super fun. All right, so do my blue here and put this on his tushy. Okay. And then I think I'm going to do one antenna behind and one up front. Son will be 15 this year. My daughter will be 8. Oh, well, so you have almost the same age gap as I do. Well, no, a little closer. A little closer. Mine are 12. Oh, no, that's the one that's going on top. Oops. Mine are 3. Well, 2 before and 12. Okay. So then we'll put his little antenna here. So he's got 2 little antennas. He is the cutest. And then, oh, I do have to attach his wings. I wonder if I should have just stitched them on. Well, nonetheless, we're here now. Maybe I will wait until I put him onto the thing. So that way, if I need to use something else, I'll have the option. All right, so for this, we're just going to do a little blue sky and a little green grass. We're not going to do anything crazy. Just for some color. I'm sure I will miss my littles being little terribly. Since I was diagnosed with my autoimmune, I have been trying to walk more, and since it's summer, that is nice that we have the opportunity to. So she and I, or my son and I, sometimes my husband too, sometimes a dog, sometimes two, we have been doing walks in the evening, which is nice. What's the name of the frame die? This is the layering. Hold on. Where did I set it? I always want to say lovely layers, but that ain't right. It's lovely layouts. And this is the posted one. So there we go. Just a little bit of color. And you guys know me. Come on now. We're going to have to add some sparkles. This is Perfect Pearls. That's what you see in here. Where did I put my... There it is. Okay. And this is just going to give me some shimmery little dots because I love the shimmers. Okay. I will rinse that, but I will do it later. And then you can see the little... Can you see it? I don't know. I'm trying. I'm trying to show you. All right, so we're going to wipe this up. And I was in the middle of working on another project, and I think that this is the last piece of whites that I had cut to an A2 size. Yes, Perfect Pearls is the OG of shimmer. I love that. And it is my favorite. And it lasts forever. Like, it's such a good investment because it lasts 100 years and it never goes bad. And I swear I've never completely emptied an entire container. All right, so now we have our little flower, which is cute all on its own. And then we'll have our little bee, who is also equally as adorable. And then what do we do with the sentiments then? As if I have a mouse in my pocket. What did I do with the sentiment? So we're going to do the little "You Are My Sunshine," I think, right there. Okay. So you guys are going to think I'm crazy because my husband just asked me this the other day, like, why can't you let anything go? Well, because I can't, because God didn't make me that way. Because if I see a way that I could like it better, then I have to do it. Here. Going to set this here. And like you can feel it when you push it down. All right. And what did I do with it? Here. And if I can get there we go. If I can get the lid off. It needs a little something. We want to take our time and not be crazy so that we can stay up against that line. And it's probably not going to be perfect. But remember, we talked about it doesn't have to be perfect. But you do want to make sure whichever way you start your line, like this one I started up from the bottom, like make sure you're committed to that because you can't change the angle. And now it has a little frame. And doesn't that look cute? So now it looks a little bit more put together. And our little bee and our little flower hanging over the edge is like a little extra cute thing. Ties in the black, and then we can stamp our sentiment in black right there, and it will all tie in together, and we'll love it, and it'll be adorable. Okay, I need a stamper. I'm leaving it in here like this because I want to get my spacing correct for where my sentiment is going to go. And then once I have it where it needs to go, I can remove all of the other parts. So I do it like this, right up in here. This, we're going to do it right there. And then our flower will sit like that. We'll be able to put in our little gemstones. Okay, that'll be good, I think. Just be straight. Don't be messing around over there. Okay. Do have to be careful of, because I have two pieces there. So see, I feel like it did shift a little. Let me double check that. Okay. We're just going to stamp it in black. This does have dies. These Sun-Kissed Summers do have dies, but I don't think it's necessary for this one. I'm just going to stamp it right on the paper. Okay. Stay. And now, put this back. Put our chubby little bee up there. You guys don't even know when I edit my videos how much dry fitting I cut out. Like I dry fit everything like 100 times because I can't stop myself. All right. So there we go. That's very cute. Maybe I can move my bee up a little. Okay. So I'm going to glue. I'm going to glue these little guys down. If this was like, if I was not going to be hiding that stem underneath the flower, I would be a little bit more concerned because you like the stem is not going to sit down as far because we have all of this thread behind there. So like normally those other littler pieces you would want to pop up with foam, but I'm not overly worried about that. Here I'm gonna put this here in the center, and then also here, and then I'm just gonna hold it there for a second. Okay. And then for this one, I'm gonna grab one of our little foams and put that right there on the back. And then this will give it even more dimension. I just want to make sure that I don't cover up my sentiment by making it too tall. I don't like that. I need it. I got to change that. Nope. Okay, now how did I have it that I was happy with it? Is it the addition of the foam? Is that what I'm not liking? Could be. Okay, there we go. I just want to make sure it did not roll on itself. Okay. So we have that, which is cute on its own, though I would probably move my sentiment up if I was just doing the flower. And then we have our little bee. I think I need a new glue bottle. Okay. Do his little tushy hanging over. Why aren't you gluing the background first? So yes, I don't, if I can fit everything on here first, if I don't have a clear idea of what I want to do, yes, I am leaving it off because I do not know if I want to pop it up on foam or not. These ones, I think, we were using the scissors the whole time. Now what did I do with them? There they are. Okay. So these ones, I am going to trim this off so that I have two pieces. And I'm not going to put it on the entirety of the wing. I'm going to put it just at the top. And that way, it will still, got to make sure that none of it's hanging off. It will still tuck behind the bee, but then it'll be lifted up. Does that make sense? Like I'll still be able to tuck it, but it will look lifted. I gotta hold it for a second. There we go. Okay. And then the same thing with this one. Betsy, you're still going. Yes, we are, Betsy. We're almost done though. You know what? Actually, Betsy, since you did pop in here, can you pick me a winner? And then we'll do this one here. I am going, because I want this to stay down, I am going to raise this up just a little bit so I can really get some glue under there. Why can I not? Are you totally out? Thank you, Betty. Betsy. Thank you, Betsy. Oh, Lord. It is time for me to get off because I can't even remember people's names. All right. So I'm just going to hold that there. All right. And so now we do have the choice between popping it up so it sits above that little frame or just gluing it flat. And I think because we have the other little foam pieces, I think I'm just going to go ahead and do it flat. Well, I'd have to take the lid off. Okay. There we go. We'll just make sure that we have the same width around the frame. And I feel like we should do his little, look at, I totally dumped these and I did it while we were together here. I'm just going to throw some back in there so I have some to choose from. Okay. So we are going to go like this. And oh, there we go. Betsy has picked our winner. Thank you, Betsy. Carol Henry Shrivel, Shevel, you are the winner. So congratulations. Um, please make sure, I'm not as good as Lisa at the announcement, but I tried. You did great, Betsy. So you will send an email to Betsy at customercare@honeybeestamps.com to claim your gift card. And Betsy will be able, she's so quick, she's so good, she'll be able to get it over to you, and then you can save it to have a little something to spend um on the release tomorrow. Or if there's something else maybe you had your heart on set on, maybe you want to go get it right away. Okay, so did we do glue here? We did do glue here. Did we? We did. What is happening? Did the glue dry? No, I think we're okay. Okay. And then we'll do little ones. And then up here, we'll do a little bit of a bigger one. No, that's not the size I'm looking for. This is okay. And then, okay, so we got a couple little gemstones there. Lisa, there will be a live tomorrow, but it will be a live in the evening at 8 p.m. And then the release party will be like we'll do it at 8 p.m. Eastern time. And then I'm just going to take this and I'm going to do his little eyes in his mouth. He needs to have a facial expression. So after the release party, which I hope you guys will be able to join us for, then the release will be live right after that. Okay, so I am not going to do as much white gel pen as I normally would because we have a lot of other things going on. But I am going to do just a little on his little face and on his tushy. Okay, so are we so excited for the release? I am. I am so excited for the release. Let me, hello again. Uh, we've only been here for 2 hours. What? So I think that he came out super cute. I will be honest, it did take longer to make than I expected, but I can definitely see like die cutting these and taking them to go, in the car to keep yourself occupied while you're doing that, because it's difficult for me to color, but the stitching I can absolutely see. Um, all right. So that's it. That's the whole card. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me, especially those of you who stayed the whole time. I appreciate that. And I will see you tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern time for the release party. And then all be shopping afterward. All right. You guys have a nice rest of your Wednesday, and I will see you later.